Libra, hi, welcome, come on in. Just in time for your Libra February 2020 reading. A couple of announcements before we start, if I may. The first is this, is that a lot of people ask me, can they get personal readings from me? I'm now putting some time aside from the other work that I do, and the answer is yes. So if you want to have a look at the email address in the description box below, you can contact me and we can go from there. FaceTime or the phone is usually the best way to do it, of course, unless you happen to live in my city, which is probably unlikely. Now, the other thing is this, is that going forward, because of all the additional work which I'm taking on in other areas of my life, as well as the extra readings, I've got to reschedule myself. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to upload the videos for the following month in the first week of the month before. For example, in the first week of February, I'll upload the videos for March, and in the first week of March, I'll upload them for April, and so on. That allows me and fits in with my schedule, but it also allows you a lot more opportunity to absorb the messages that are coming through for you so that you're prepared for when the calendar month comes along. Finally, a lot of people have asked, what is that artwork which is behind me? Well, it's this. And so there you go. I find it's quite representative of what I do. Now, I'm going to access some different spiritual realms, 3 in fact, for you this month, and I'm going to look at the overriding influence for you by using some indigenous art, and it is the message of friendship for you, friendship and what that's going to be meaning for you. We can have a talk about that in just a moment. It's important that you look at the imagery on the card to let that sink into you, because really it's the imagery that works on your psyche and your subconscious mind, your shadow self, which brings it forward. I'm also going to, from another realm now, take 3 playing cards, which I'll explain the meaning of at the end of the reading. They are the following: the 6 of Spades, the 5 of Diamonds, and the 7 of Spades. Looking at the Tarot now, let's see what there is in store for you. Beautifully abstract and just stunning artwork on each of these cards. Rather like the Libra woman, stunning. So absolutely stunning, the Libra woman. I've always thought that. I'm entranced by the beauty of Libra women. I'm a sucker for it. That's the Father of Cups. That's the 2 of Feathers. That's the Wheel of Life. That is the 3 of Coins. And here, there is the Son of Cups. Okay, why don't we have a look at all of these cards together, and I'll tell you what they mean for you. All right, my beloved Libra, let's have a look at these cards, and I'm going to have a look at this one first here. Feathers actually is corresponding to these spade cards down here, which I'll discuss at the end of the tarot section. Well, but before I do look at the 2 of Feathers that's here, have a look first at this card, which is the general. Well, the general purpose of this reading and how it should be affecting you, and it is in the area of your friendships. What do your friendships mean to you? Are they satisfying? Are they two-way? Do you feel as if you are giving too much without getting enough in return? Or are you taking advantage of the goodwill and good wishes of other people without repaying that beneficial energy yourself? This is something just to think about. And the reason why I say that is friendships are so important in life. we have duality in life, and friendships and love, and this can refer to love friendships as well, is about bringing unity back, taking what is divided and making it whole. Because without love and without friendship, your life just flashes by. Have a look at that card. Let its image sink into you. Sleep on it. And how you respond to it will be apparent in the morning. We'll look now at this Two of Feathers that I preempted before. Well, this is interesting, the Two of Feathers. It's very much a need for peace, and I would say bring the stream of your thoughts to a stop. Observe your inner dialogue, maybe through meditation or just by being still. Realize how chains of thoughts are formed and how they freeze into automatic thought patterns, doubts, and pondering. Just for a moment, let your thoughts come to a standstill. Feel the power of the space that lies between a dying and a newly forming thought. When we look at this card here, and I'm cognizant of its position, which is in this top right-hand corner and on this line, what I see is the moon ruling the first decan of Libra. You know, that's 23rd of September to about the 2nd of October. Well, the moon in Libra, this is a happy combination, because with the moon in the sign of Libra, you're likely to have a deep need for peace and harmony in your life. Libra is symbolized, isn't it, by the scales, and it relates to any area of your life that requires balance. This includes personal environment, your work, and your relationship, friendships with others. The purpose of the card is neutrality, being neither good nor bad. So balance. Balance is what is being requested of you, I think, at the present time. Look, I also think that you might be having a hard time making up your idea about something, and I'm getting an influence of these cards which are coming, these playing cards which are down here. Maybe you can't make a choice between something. Maybe you can't make your mind up about something. It's not acute, but it sits in the background. It sort of boils away underneath you, simmers away rather, and it surfaces every now and then. You might be dealing with the pros and the cons of a situation, doing a list of fors and againsts. And it's possible also that it might be that at this time you feel something of a stagnation or even quite passive. But I think you might lack the information that you need to make the right decision at this time. But when you get it, it's like the light goes on and you can see the situation in full for what it is, and you'll be in a much better position to make the decision that is right for you. That's a very encouraging card, that. Now, here we have the Father of Cups, because it's a person, and it may well, the person will also have messages for you. But the person is somebody who can sometimes, I think, cause, in a friendship situation, can sometimes cause some difficulties. I'm really getting the feeling of Aquarius and Pisces around this particular energy. Aquarius and Pisces is what I'm getting. He is, of course, the Lord of waves and waters, the King of the hosts of the sea. Now, they can be either male or female, these court cards, but I see a man who's got commitment issues, somebody who is amiable but passive, a guy who's attracted to excitement, and somebody who can sometimes have an unsustainable enthusiasm for things. somebody also who's actually sensitive, but deep down is actually really quite shallow, is what I'm getting. Let's pull him out a bit so we can see him in the context of these other cards here. Yeah, very interesting guy. He tends to mismanage his affairs, is what I'm getting, and without luck, it might be that his history, his career, has been an unbroken record of failure at this or that. And with his mental civil wars that are going on, they can sometimes lead to substance abuse, to drinking, over drinking, over drug taking. Sometimes even it can lead to mental illness. So there could be somebody there who is, well, what do they call it, bipolar or depressive or something, that can be medicating themselves without having sought the appropriate advice and treatment. Now, I've got to say this, and the gay and lesbian communities, please make the necessary adjustment, but this is somebody who is attracted to the opposite sex, and the opposite sex is attracted to him. And he can usually make good work of that attraction that's going on. And so can be someone who plays around a bit. I think at best he's loving and generous, supportive and tender. He can be capable of high spiritual achievement, funnily enough. But he's somebody that's ruled by emotions, not necessarily very practical. And I have to tell you that I think he's somebody, or she, will actually really try to flatter you or sweet talk you, rather than picking up their share of the expenses and the bills. They can be quite unreliable in that respect. This is somebody who is, I think, quite insecure and constantly needs reassurance. At worst, I think he's someone who's unfaithful, fickle, shallow, highly emotional, and I've got to say it, but just downright unreliable. But having said that, though, I do think that with the appearance of this card, and this might be that person that's relating to, and what was I getting around there? Pisces, I think, and Aquarius, I think. But I do think here that this is a time which speaks of real inner contentment and great happiness for you. I really do get that feeling that's coming up here to me. I think that you will radiate this contentment out towards other people around you and enriching them, either emotionally or just by having a good time with them. However, there is an aspect to this which I think you need to be aware of, and I want you to be aware of, because you could be uncertain about yourself and feel that you can't get what you want in love and relationships. You'll have periods perhaps of self-doubt, and you also may need reassurance from other people, but that's okay. That's okay to have reassurance from other people. It's possible also that there could be a period there where you lack energy or inspiration. I think, however, that this is a time here for you which is speaking of you really will be yearning for intensive interchange with those of like mind and outlook to yourself. Yeah, I think that this is, and you'll find that. So, great peace and inner contentment is what I see there for you. Now, there's the Father of Cups. Let's have a look down here, which is the Son of Cups. Now, here is the Sun, as he is depicted by the artist. Now, you've got the Father of Cups and the Son of Cups in the same month. Extremely interesting. I think this could be a Scorpio that's around you. It could also be Libra ascendant, I think, is somebody that's around you at this time. I think that this represents a a young man of subtlety, secret violence, craft. Could well be an artist or somebody who's involved in the industry to do with beauty and hair and makeup, fashion, because as I say, they don't have to be males just because it's described as the sun. But as the sun and young, he's air, and in cups he's water. So he's the airy part of water. Now they strengthen each other and are neutral, so there's no elemental dignity problems there. But with him, the elements combined, and I'm getting this feeling of Scorpio around it. This feeling of Scorpio, I think, comes in to make him quite an intense character. I would say that as a fast river flows, so does he, trying to get the most out of life as possible. He cares intensely for power and information, this guy, and if ever you're in any doubt as to where you stand in relation to him, let me remove that doubt for you. You stand behind him. He is number one in all respects. He can appear calm, but it really masks a passion and an intensity which can make him quite volatile, I think. Look, he's a guy who's got a lot to offer. I think he's generally got immense ability, but I would not necessarily rely upon him because his main responsibility is to himself. And he can be secretive. He can be quite secretive. And he can hide his deepest desires. I'm really getting arts and music and things to do with graphic arts, even computer, web design, things like that is what I'm getting. Could well acting or presenters, people producing YouTube even could well be the case. Although I'm doing that, I suppose, and so I may be talking about myself, but I'm not. Because I think that this guy can shed a lot into other people's lives, and the reason is because he's actually really done it all himself. He's been there and he's done that. But I think that this represents for you a time of healing that's necessary for what may well have been something of a period of, I won't say trauma, but maybe something that's been quite unsettling in your life in a way. And this time is allowing you to mend before you go out for a more productive phase. And of course, if you don't use the time wisely, you can have a repeat cycle. And with the Son of Cups, this comes about when he's exhausted from periods of, well, of passion and sex and loss, as presented by the intensity, I think, of the Scorpio that can sometimes come about it. I think someone else's expectations have been unfulfilled. I think you come across that and you'll know them, where they, as a result, have a feeling of sadness and disappointment. And so they, and certainly you, need to check to see whether you have set realistic goals. And this comes up in relation to this again, doesn't it? You've got realistic goals. But of course you need to be careful not to shut yourself away. And you've got to continue moving your life forward if you've had some unsettling period in your life. However, what he does is he also says to me that there is here for you in this time the potential for great balance and harmony. There's an intensity here with the Scorpio energy, which I'm picking up with it. And I think it adds an emotional depth to a sexual relationship which you might be having, giving it a lot of intensity. Now, this doesn't just mean sexual fulfillment, but it does also, it means getting the most out of that relationship, out of that friendship, which could be a partner as much as anybody that's new on the scene. But it's also about you getting the most out of life, and you will be getting the most out of life and living it to the full, and using the energy of the sun, which has great intensity in Scorpio. Now, what else do we have? Well, let's have a look at this Three of Coins. We'll save the last one for the end. Now, the Three of Coins is great. The three is about, it really is about extension. It's about expansion. It's about development. It's about gestation. You know how a woman gestates a fetus within her? Well, it's the same sort of a thing. This is really what I call the card of material work. It's Mars in the second decan of Capricorn, I think, yeah, about the 3rd to the 12th of January. Now, what I'm getting from it is, well, Mars in Capricorn, Mars, of course, is about energy, assertion, and vitality. And Capricorn represents ambition, practicality, and the making of things tangible. Now, in ordinary astrology, Mars is also exalted in Capricorn, so the energy of Mars for once is actually really constructive in this scenario, in this card here, which represents the energy. And in the sign of Capricorn, rather than, Mars is often very destructive self. Capricorn's materialism, I think, benefits from the energy and the activity of Mars. So this card signifies that when you invest time and effort into work, however broadly you want to define that, things are going to turn out very favorably for you. Now, the things I'm getting up here are like a new job or a career or a new area of work or a new interest or a new aspect in your job. A lot of satisfaction in what it is that you're doing a good job, continued progression, productivity, even teamwork, good teamwork, working with friends in the workplace or in a social environment can also mean consulting with others to get things done that you need to have done, and it can mean in particular that people could be consulting you. I think what it's saying very much is that you will be getting the reward for all of your hard work and dedication. Your skill and knowledge at this time is going to move you forward. So it's great outcomes for career, business projects, and practical matters in general. Life generally for you is going to be in balance, I think, and you are going to reap the reward of a balanced life. You will have a great ability to stick with things and to overcome any obstacles and live your life. Hoist up the sails and let the wind fill them, because the time is here where the wind is going to be filling your sails and pushing you forward, which is great news. Well, then here you have the wheel of life. Well, you might say, gee, in the context of this reading so far, what does this mean for me? Well, I think what we can say is that the wheel for you is going to be bringing about some change. Change is imminent. Change is coming about. But it's change, I think, which is good for you, because it's talking to me about abundance, about prosperity, and prosperity in a way that makes sense to you. And good fortune is what it's coming at. It's a change of fortune, which is good. It's almost like a lot of destiny associated with it. The Lord of the forces of life, Jupiter, I think, coming in very strongly is the energy that I see here. I think what we'll see with you at this time is that as this thing turns around, you can see that you should stay in the center, then it doesn't matter which way it goes. I think that this is representing for you unexpected changes in your life, which will be favorable, but which they may not actually necessarily seem that way at first. So you should also be ready to act on any unexpected opportunities. When times are good, stay centered, because as we know, things can always change. And if things are challenging for you, don't worry. If things are challenging for you, don't worry, because this is a signifier that says that things are going to turn out and turn round for the better. Change is going to happen. May not be monumental or revolutionary. You may need to alter your present course or change things around you to set the stage for the right outcomes to come into your life. Yeah, very much that's the case. Tremendous thing here. There's a great quality of happiness and joy. Be happy is what this is saying, because you have every reason to be happy. Now let's have a look at these cards and see what they have to say for you, shall we? These things are usually like a surgeon's knife. Let's have a look at them. Now, you've got the 6 and 7 of spades. Let's have a look at this 6 of spades first. Come here, card. And see what it's got to say for you. Now, I think what this particular card says is 6s are about transition, things being left behind, new things to do. It's almost like, I think in this context for you and in this reading for you, it's almost like a card of fate. Small improvements. It can be a warning card about domestic life, finance, or career. And there may be conflict or lack of cooperation from others, or even from yourself. God forbid that I should say so, but there it is. You may not be cooperating with others yourself. I think what this is saying really is that you need to look within yourself to see where problems might arise, because I think you already know the answers to that. Then we have the 7, which comes after it. This card in this context is almost... 7 is about looking internally. It's about introspective thoughts, thinking, ruminating, going over. Could even be some sort of anxiety coming up with something. I think what this can do is it can represent the uncovering of a truth, a removal or a loss of some kind. I'd say to you also to be careful at this time of advice you are given, because that advice could lead to loss. There could, when this appears, sometimes be the loss of a relationship, a friendship, or quarrels and arguments with friends or others. And avoiding arguments with friends is really what I'm getting up here. See, it's interesting, isn't it? This thing keeps on coming through. So avoid arguments with friends. I know it's not easy to do that all the time, because sometimes very often you see that our friends are so much like ourselves that we tend to take things out on our friends, don't we? As much as anybody else, rather than having a good long hard look at ourselves, we take it out on the friend. But here is this lovely red diamond here. The 5 can mean sometimes instability, exaggeration, some sort of strife, changes coming through. I think this indicates changes in finance, but not in a bad way. I don't think there's anything difficult coming around here, but there's changes in finance. It could be a time of changing jobs or changing a way of doing business. It can also mean a settlement or that a successful resolution of an argument or of a claim is being made. What this can also refer to, I think, and I'm looking at it in the context of this overall spread, is that there is unexpected news regarding a business transaction or something that's going on in the workplace or around your home and how you conduct things around there, sort of something which sort of comes up which can be quite unexpected. And it can also refer to the birth of a child, I think is what I'm getting here, and good news for a child. And we always like to see good news for children, don't we? That's the way it is for you this month. Well, there you go. It looks like it's going to be an absolutely fantastic month for you, and that's great because you deserve it. And I have to say, you were fantastic during that reading. All that remains for me to say is this, and remember it always, that you are a legend, and I look forward to seeing you again next month. Until then, bye for now.